Hey guys, it's some secrets again, and this is a new series where we'll be creating an attendance app. I'm not going to bore you with the video of how I came up with a sketch of this in Photoshop, but I'm going to put a link to that in the description below. Now, I've not done this before, and I don't know all the things we're going to have to encounter while making the app, but one or two we're going to be looking at recycle views. We're going to be looking at how to fetch data from the server, how to create a database, and all this kind of stuff. So I hope you join me in this journey, and we get to learn something together. So let's get on with it. We will start by creating the image on the left. So go to Android Studio and create a new project. There are several activities we could choose from, but I'll be choosing the navigation draw activity. When you're done, choose your name, an API level, and then click on finish. So I'll change the constraints layout to linear layout. Then I'm going to take away the default views we have there, which is the text view and the floating button. Now you might notice we don't have the floating button here because there are several XML files linked together. Now I'm editing a file called contents main XML, but I need to go to the other XML files linked to this. So I'm going to do that by holding down the control and clicking on this link. It's going to take me to the other file. I'm going to take away the floating button. I'm also going to go to the Java file, the main activity Java file, and I'll take away where the floating button was placed there too. So I'm just going to take that one away. Then I'm going to head back to the content main.xml, and I'll take away the text view. Let's take away the text view. Okay. Now, first thing is I'm going to define a color for the parent layout. Now I'm going to choose the color primary, and you can see it's a little bit greenish because I want to go ahead and change that. So I'll hold my control key and click on it. It's going to open up the colors.xml file where the default colors are being defined. So I want to change all of that. So I'm just going to copy what I typed out and paste that there. You'd notice the color primary, or the primary color, has changed to blue. And when you go back, you notice that has also changed. Now we're going to be adding a relative layout. And why we're going with a relative layout is because I want the relative layout to be like a parent to two views. The text view and the image view. You can see here the who did and that little background there. And because in relative layout you can stack views on each other, that is why I'm going with the relative layout. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and do that. I'll set the width to match parent and the height to 0dp because I want to use weights, or I'll just put that 200 so I can see what I'm doing. Then I'm going to come back later, place my image views. I'm going to place my text view, match parent, type in my text, who day. Then you can play around with the attributes you give to your text. I'm gonna go with white. Make it a little bit bigger. Now for my image, you need to have your images in the drawable folder. So make sure you have that already. I'm just gonna paste the image in my drawable folder. Open my drawable folder, just paste that there. So I can now make a reference to it. Now I'm going to choose center crop as a scale type. Now what center crop does, it enlarges the image and crops any excess. Now there are other scale types you could use, but center crop usually the one that fits what we need. Now I need to find a way to move this to the center. Then what else do we need to do? Okay, I'm going to add some padding at the beginning and also at the end, just for symmetry. Padding left. I think I should add padding start also, and padding right. Okay, you can see we have something. Okay, you can see we have something that looks like what we want to do already. So the next thing we're going to add is the view group to contain these boxes. Now we're going to put that underneath the relative layout we just made. Now I'm using a grid layout because grid layouts, it's a view group that arranges the views we put inside in a grid format. Now we also have grid view, but grid view is mostly used when you want to get data from the server, and then you have to create an adapter. Things start to get a little bit complex. But since what we want to do is very simple, just 4 views in this grid-like format, grid layout, I feel it's the best option. So I'm just going to create linear layouts in there inside my grid layout. So for the background of the linear layout is going to be this square that has 2 rounded corners. So I'm going to do that by creating a drawable resource for that. So I'll just type in the name of the file I would like to create, and then I would hold down the Alt key and hit enter. It's going to give me some options. I'm going to choose to create the drawable resource. Now in here is where I'm going to define the shape of the background I want. Shape is going to be a rectangle. I'll go ahead and define the corner. The trick to get those corners is to define the corners of specific points in the square, and it's gonna take that shape. I'm just gonna come back to this later. Okay, now what we want to do is the square or the layout is going to be clickable. We want to have like some kind of feedback, so I'm going to create different item states that defines what happens when we click on a drawable. Now the first state is going to be when nothing is happening, as when we're not pressing it and when it's not being focused. So I'm going to copy all of that and paste it inside that. I can see what I want to do. Now I'm going to define the radius, the corner of the whole square. Now you notice, I'm just type it out so you can see. Now I'm going to define the bottom left radius to be 0 and the top right radius to be 0, and that will make those edges to be like have the sharp look, while the others have the cornered sides. Then I'm going to define the size. That's going to make it look like a square. But the size is not really important because the size is going to adjust itself based on the size of the layout. But just for me to know what I'm doing. Okay, then I'm going to add a little bit of transparency to this color here. Okay, I have something here. Although it doesn't look like what we want, well, just go ahead. Now create the second state. What happens when the layout has been tapped or when the resource has been tapped? Now I'm just going to change the color not the color, the transparency now. And what that means is when it's been touched, it will be white. Now back here, just gonna come here and make some changes. Now we're adding 4 different layouts. So I'll just copy this, paste again, add a comment, second square. I'm gonna go to the grid layout and define the number of columns and rows we should have. We'll do that by using column count and row count. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add the views I want inside the. Just make sure, like I showed you before, make sure you have your assets already in the drawable. Now in my previous video I showed you guys how to export your drawables for different screen sizes, so I'll leave a link for you to go and check that out. So I'm going to put the images, and under the images I'm going to put a text view. Now since this is not a relative layout, we need to add the orientation because it's a linear layout. So vertical means they're going to be beneath each other, or underneath each other, not beneath each other. So when I add my text view, it's going to come under the image view, like you can see now. I'm going to play around, add some color, change the size. Now you can play around with these attributes depending on how you want yours to look like. I'm going to change the width of the linear layout to wrap content so that it doesn't overlap each other, and then the widths will be determined by their individual weights, which is going to be equal among both of them. Now I'll set the column weight to be 1, the row weight to be 1, and I'll do the same thing for the other linear layout. Now what that does, it shares the available size it has from the grid layout equally among them. Okay, now I'll just make things centered a bit using gravity. Now I'm going to put focusable to be true and clickable to be true to be able to click on the layout, so we can have that effect we had before. Then just play around with the margins. Now all you have to do here, it's more like repeating what you just did. Just make sure you take a little bit of time to work on the first layout, and then we just copy and paste things to make the other ones. Just copy things from the first one I did, the first square there. Then you make changes to the image and the text. So you're going to repeat that step like times. You copy, just paste. Now you can see the grid layout helps you to arrange these views in a grid. Now actually the grid layout it's blocking the previous thing we did. So we're going to now use weight for the height. We're going to add a weight to the grid layout, and then let's see, that looks better. Okay, then there's just method profile. When you're done, just copy and paste and create the fourth one. I like adding comments, so Just change the name and the image. There you go. Now I'm gonna add a view at the bottom and give it a weight so that we have that space that we had at the bottom. So I'll just play around with the margins, add margin top here, copy and paste. Now let's see, the margins are a little bit bigger, so let's add margin bottom to the first and second one. Okay, I think that looks better. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and test this and see it's gonna work, but most especially I want to see how the weight looks in the tablet, and I'm also going to check how it looks in the phone and see if the clicking thingy works. So when you click, it's going to have an effect. I'm going to check how that looks in a mobile view. So in the next video, we'll start creating other activities in the app and get to link them together. So if you like the video, do subscribe and hit the bell to get notified as soon as I upload more videos. And also let me know your suggestions in the comment section. And I use the dark theme for my Android Studio, so please do let me know if you prefer the dark theme or if I use the light theme. So see you guys, signing out.